Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 70 of Those Muckrakers. I'm Pete.
And I'm Pat.
Goddamn, 70 episodes. All right. I'm really excited this week. I wanted to go straight into... we actually have a listener who is excited to listen to our show, who actually just sent me a message going, "Where's the podcast this week?"
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Someone who's not Wesley now.
Someone looks forward to our podcast. So she wrote us an email that says, hold on, sorry, there was...
That says it's time to mow the lawn with a weed whacker.
It's hard to do a podcast, you don't have a studio. So the first email she sent us was how she's one of our 5 listeners. And for that, we thank you very much, Issa. She also says...
For her, we give her a big round of applause.
This is my favorite part. She says there should be more, quote, good whites like yourselves who aren't afraid to call out BS and the joke of our administration. I do like that I'm one of them good whites.
I do adore that. That gives me some good woke cred right there. At any rate, I'm definitely going to wear that as a badge of honor. Thank you very much.
I still think that we're fucking cavemen and we're about as offensive as you can get and about as far away from woke as you can get, but I do appreciate the compliment.
Yes, I agree. I am the unwokenest, but I mean, it's nice to hear that someone thinks I'm coming along okay.
Now, my favorite part of this email, she says, one thing that does annoy me, if you don't mind a bit of criticism, is that Pat always speaks over Pete.
No. Let's move on. We don't need that part of it.
Well, Pete tries sometimes to interject a point.
I don't think that he does. That's a lie.
And Pat just keeps interrupting him.
I don't think that is something that actually happens. This is hype. That is the epitome of hyperbole.
Issa says, take turns and don't interrupt. Oh, I thought you were going to interrupt there. See, it's even worse now. You're like, all right, I'm going to throw him off his rhythm. I'm going to interrupt, and then silence, and then interrupt again. Basically, Pat, our listener loves us, just wants you to shut up and wants more of me. That's all I'm saying.
I think that we should move on to another listener now, because today is Wesley Bowen's birthday.
Oh my God, Wesley! Woo! Today was the day Wesley hatched out of an egg. And then I assume. All right, so here's the story of Wesley's birthday. Wesley's planet was dying, right? And so Wesley's real parents put him in, put the Wesley egg in a pod and sent him to Earth, where he was adopted by 2 somewhat loving rednecks and raised in the backwoods. And
he was raised by 1 redneck plus Sasquatch.
Plus a Sasquatch. And so, yeah, today is his egg. I guess, would it be the day he hatched out of his egg or the day they found the Wesley egg in the spaceship?
I would call it his hatchiversary. Today is the day that he was hatched on his home planet of Westmania.
Gotcha.
Westlvania.
So today was the day that Wesley was hatched, and we hope that he has a wonderful birthday. May he live long and prosper and be one with the Force. I'm trying to do all the things he loves in one, like, happy birthday wish.
I'm trying to remember a Harry Potter spell. Luminosa, long and prosper.
Well, I will just say this. Wesley, happy birthday, and remember to make it so.
Yeah. Now back to the listener that actually sent us an email, Wesley.
All right. So this is actually a really good point, and I'm glad that Issa asked this. She says, why do you hate Julian Assange? He's a weirdo and not someone I'd ever want to be near, but he did uncover a lot of shit our government and others did without our knowledge. I always appreciate the call for clarity and visibility in our dealings in and out of the country. Yes, absolutely. I fucking love it when secret documents get leaked. I'm just like, this is delicious. I love exposed government secrets, right? No doubt about it. That's fucking awesome. The problem comes when, like you said earlier when we were talking, you release specific pieces of government secrets.
Right. So the problem with Julian Assange is that I don't know if his website has always been a propaganda front for Russia, or if it just became that over time.
I think my own personal thing is, I think that initially he was just basically taking these leaks and putting them out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the Russians were like, "Oh, you know, it'd be good. We take leak piece of it, make people look like asshole," and then that's what they did.
All right, so the problem with WikiLeaks is that it only leaks Democrat documents.
Yes.
It does not leak anything that makes the Republicans look bad.
Yes.
And they're doing this because they want... Well, here's the thing. Actually, I will step back and say I think he has always been a Russian propaganda website, because the Republicans, up until recently, was also against Russia. So Russia was trying to badly hurt America by undermining our government in any way that they could. But when the Republicans came out as very pro-Russian, they tilted away from leaking documents from both sides and towards only leaking Democrat documents. WikiLeaks exists only to destabilize America, to tear down the system of democracy and government control. And while it can be interesting to see, some of the stuff that the government's up to, at the end of the day, he is still making it very difficult for America to operate.
He's interfering with the election because he's releasing only specific targeted information to discredit one political party. And here's the quote I have. Here's the evidence for you that I wanted to use just to seal this up. Why he's dangerous, why he's a piece of shit, even though I love, government secrets. Remember that whole quote where he's just like, when Trump was like, when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab him by the pussy. Right? Remember that?
Right. The Access Hollywood tape.
So that dropped, right? And an hour after that tape dropped, which everyone was like, this is it for him, WikiLeaks basically neutralized that tape by revealing it had 50,000 of Podesta's emails. And Podesta was, who was he in the Democratic Party?
He was head of the Democratic National Convention.
So basically head of the Democratic National Convention. WikiLeaks has 50,000 of his emails, and then it releases only 2,000 of them to damage Clinton's campaign.
So here's why that's so bad. You're saying transparency in government. Well, first of all, they didn't do that for both sides. They only did it for the DNC, not the RNC. Secondly, they tried to pretend like this was a major, major scandal by, slowly drip feeding America his emails. Over the next 30 days, every day they released another huge dump of his emails, so that this would stay in the news. They wanted this to stay in the news every single day going up to the election. And here's the clincher. There was nothing bad in any of his emails. I've read many of them until I began to realize, this is just a shit show that propagandists are trying to use by taking snippets out of context.
Right.
These some Democratic Congress people were saying, I can't wait for the pool party. Be sure to bring the kids. It'll be fun watching them play. And then propagandists were able to say, "See, look, the Democrats are pedophiles."
Well, yeah, and fucking So
that's all it was.
It was basically
just business as usual. It was basically nothing to it.
Anytime something bad happened to Trump, you know what I mean? Like, in the news today, Trump runs out of Trump Tower naked going, "Oh God, the blood. I didn't know that children were full of so much blood. What have I done?" WikiLeaks would be like, "And more Hillary Clinton emails today. She says she wanted to go out for lunch, but her emails revealed that Hillary skipped lunch today. Well, what is it, Hillary?" Like, yeah. And so they did everything they could to run a campaign of misinformation against one side. That's why it's bullshit. That's why I don't like him. That's why fuck him so hard. He's done more than probably more than any single individual to help fuck our election process.
Right. And that is where WikiLeaks still sits today. It has been weakened over time because more and more people are catching on to it, to the fact that it's a Russian propaganda website masquerading as because, like all good propagandists, they don't come out and say, "Hey, we're going to release some propaganda." They say, "We're doing this for transparency's sake," or for things that seem like a good idea to do. Yeah. But then, they're bullshitting you.
Yeah, if he had just released all the RNC emails, all the DNC emails, fucking access to everybody's fucking Twitter account and all that, both sides, I would have been fine with that. But it's targeted misinformation, and that's all it is. Fuck him. Hopefully that answers your question on why Julian Assange. We should just have an employee of the month, right? For every episode, but it should just be like, who's the asshole of the month this month? Julian Assange.
I think for the time being, Trump would just keep winning every time.
Maybe.
In a post-Trump world, which, fingers crossed that'll be sooner than later, Oh my God, the variety of episodes we'll start having. That's going to be so nice. Oh, that's going to be so nice.
So are you ready?
God, there's going to be a week in which we just sit here and say, so, Pete, in the news this week, not a goddamn thing happened. I guess we should talk about that Malaysian airliner again?
We're going to name...
Sounds good, Pat.
We're going to name those episodes when we don't really have any news. It's going to be Spinning Yarns with Pete and Pat.
Those, luck rakers? Because, good luck.
No, come on, man. You do better than that. Those yarn makers.
Those...
Come on, those yarn makers is perfect. We're making yarns. We're spinning yarns and telling tales.
Yarn makers. Yeah, okay. That works. I can't think of anything better than that. That's decent. That's good.
Speaking of yarns, let's get into a fucking Dear Abby.
Oh, it's going to be so funny. We'll be in stitches.
I'm sorry. This isn't Ask Amy, but same thing. Basically, people writing for internet advice to which they should already know the answer.
Stitches, yarn, it's...
I know. I get your jokes. I just don't laugh at them.
That's,
You ready?
Yes.
All right.
I was trying to think of more yarn puns. Go on.
Dear Amy, I am the youngest first cousin in a very large family. I grew up in a different state, but I visited the family frequently until my father's death in 1986. I intentionally strayed away from my relatives because our views drastically differ. Many of them are high school dropouts with multiple children from many different relationships. I'm going to pause right there and go ahead and tell you, I too am a high school dropout, so I don't know, man. Doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Yar. I've been friends with a lot of high school dropouts now that I think about it. Ozzy was a high school dropout. Wasn't our entire core Boken team high school dropouts?
A lot of them. So, I intentionally strayed away from these people because their views drastically differ. They're high school dropouts with multiple children from different relationships. They also rely heavily on public assistance as a means of support. I do not condone this, especially when an individual is capable of employment. So basically, they're dropouts, they have a bunch of kids, they're sponging off the system, but they could all work, I guess.
So this guy sounds like he is a practitioner of listening to Fox News.
A little bit, but also hold on, I get it, because it gets worse. My spouse and I are married for 28 years with 2 grown children. They are both college graduates going on to pursue their master's degrees.
Okay.
My family is well aware of my own health issues and my mantra about life. They have mocked me for completing a college degree as an adult student with a desire to attend law school in my mid-40s. 4 of these relatives are in their 70s with health issues, including stage 4 cancer.
What do you call it? Your mid-40s is a good time to start your law degree, honestly. Older people tend to make good lawyers because if you're younger, they don't take you serious in the court system. It's really, really hard to be a young lawyer. I
also think that if you're younger, you're probably more prone to burnout because as you get older, at least most people, as you get older, you learn a better work-life balance,
Right.
And you don't get, as a younger person, you get in these jobs and you don't know how to step back and it'll fucking devour you, And he says, I want to help out because I am the youngest despite my distance in travel and my own personal health issues. Overall, they do not call, write, or even ask how I am doing on an occasion when I've reached out to them. Oh, I'm such a fool. I actually realized this is a woman. Or it could be a man. My husband said to cut ties like before. He sees how upset I have become after talking to them. Overall, is it okay to break ties with the relatives when they are terminally ill? I don't think this guy has, or this lady, I'm not sure. Could be either or.
We'll stick to guy.
I don't think this guy has much of a relationship with these fucking people anyway.
Sounds like it. There's all these people in my life, and I ain't spoken to them for a long time, but they're doing stuff I don't approve of. Well, they're just strangers you're condemning at this point.
Well, my whole thing is, look, I understand, the plight a little bit.
One of them made fun of me once.
I understand the plight a little bit, because I was a high school dropout. I went to college and grad school. I don't identify necessarily with, all my family. We hold a lot of different views. And my family hasn't done this, but other people when I was growing up made fun of me for pursuing education. I had people tell me, yeah, that degree ain't going to help you none. What you studying, what you reading for, boy, ain't going to help you none. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean? You don't just acquire knowledge for the pleasure of knowing things? You just if it doesn't have application in the next week, I don't fucking care.
That's a weird way to think about life. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could get by like that if you're a swamp person. If it won't catch me, that gator that's been eating my children, and I don't care about it.
It might be, but even as a swamp person, it might be good to know, like, don't drink the poo water. It'll make you sick. You know what I mean? Like, I get it.
You
like,
don't tell me how to live my life. I'll drink the poo water if I want. Big government ain't gonna stop me from enjoying my poo.
It just seems like these are shitty people, and maybe they're jealous of this guy's success. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, but the thing my family has never done.
What's his question exactly? Is he asking what he should do about this? He's already broken ties. If they're estranged, there's your answer. Like, fuck it, they're estranged. Why do you care?
What he's asking, is it okay to break ties when they're terminally ill? Because one of them has like stage 4 cancer.
He already broke ties. Like, does he want to like reestablish ties and break it again?
I mean, it's just one of those. I guess he wants to reach out because they're not doing well health wise, but like keeps getting upset. I would have been like, yeah, you know those fancy degrees? I bet your doctor has one.
Taunt them as they die.
Ain't no fancy book learning gonna help you. Yeah. Do you know how to operate this breathing machine that you're on? I don't, but I sure hope someone here does with their fancy book learning.
Yeah.
It's just one of those, like, you should never, like, I just don't, it's hard. Don't dog somebody for their life choices if their life choices aren't directly, like, impacting you. That being said, we dog people all the time for their life choices, so do as we say, not as we do. But
yeah,
also,
I mean, I was making fun of Joe Bob over there for his gator wrestling.
Hey, maybe he wants to gator wrestle. But if they're already dying, why do you feel the need to cut ties? Just wait them out. If you're 7 and you have stage 4 cancer, it won't be long now.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is just delay making that decision, and it'll be made for you. So There we go. Good time to procrastinate.
Yeah, just do what I do with literally anything. Procrastinate.
Well, see, the problem worked itself out. Let's go.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just one of those, like, and I've said before, look, your family are the people that surround you with, that are your support group, that you love and love you. Just because someone's related to you doesn't mean that you have to like, love them, or have contact with them.
Yeah, I guess. That sucks. You know what? I'm just going to play devil's advocate and say, fuck it. No, go talk to them while they die. Worst thing that'll happen is you can just get fed up and tell them off for all they're worth. They won't have that long to think about it. Things will never be awkward at the next Thanksgiving dinner because, you know, they're not there.
Well, to be fair, this guy's husband, I understand why he's, like, cut ties with them. He's probably really tired of seeing how upset the other dude is after he's like, Jesus Christ, fucking just stop talking to him if they make you that upset. Like, I get it, but I don't know. I mean, if someone's dying, fuck, just go hold their hand, you know, make their last moments comfortable. And even if their last words are like, I still think your law degree is stupid. Well, whatever, man.
You're a sissy for all that book learning.
Your book learning. All the book learning in the world won't save me now. Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, it seems like this person still has some kind of desire to have a connection with him. So, fucking don't cut him off. Fucking talk to the fucking assholes.
Maybe if he keeps coming back to them and it makes him mad all the time, maybe he's addicted to anger. Maybe he gets off on just being furious, and if that's the case, reconnect with them. That way he can be angry so much more often.
Well, remember that, like, anger is addicting, and I recently had a kind of, like, really nice conversation with a relative of mine. I've argued with a lot about politics online. And
Not the one I'm thinking of.
I don't know which one you're thinking of.
Aunt.
Yeah, it was my aunt. We actually had a one-on-one private conversation where we actually kind of came to terms to a lot of our political differences, and it ended with her telling me that she thinks I should run for office.
Because you were able to sway her slightly?
It's like, not so much I swayed her, but I let her, I kind of just laid it out as just like, a lot of people in politics right now are just leeches and they're bleeding us dry, and there are real problems happening that no one really cares about.
Yes, there's some serious problems happening.
Yeah. And so by laying it out, I'm just like, you know, right now, most of each party doesn't give a shit about you and me. Like, they don't care. I named off all the problems that were happening in the country, and I brought up immigration and everything. I go, nobody's trying to fix it. Everyone's just using it as a prop to get what they, you know what I mean, to get a little bit richer and, like, to stay in power. No one's actually trying to fix these fucking problems.
Yeah, if people did care, then the Democrats would at least be trying to push legislation through that might be able to help them. That way, the Republicans would have to face the fact that
Or
there
this
is.
is this is insane. Maybe try to peel off some moderate Republicans and some fucking Democrats and find a workable solution to the goddamn government instead of like my team, fuck you, you know?
Right, but I mean, just put it on record that a bill came forward that said, let's relax security at the border. Let's maybe dissolve the fuck out of ICE and prosecute them. Maybe start putting that legislation forward, and then that way it's on record who voted for what everyone wants to do.
Here's a crazy idea. How about we go down to the border and
don't.
set up a fucking express line? Like, and so basically you're just like, boom, asylum court right there at the border. Just like let's just open up a whole bunch of those Walmart self checkouts, and it's just like you're either getting approved or you're not, and you're going home, and like bing bang boom, like let's just fix it. Like let's give people let's give them an option, like stuff shit like that. Like no one's trying to find a workable solution.
Like the Apple Express through the interstate in Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly, right.
If pay a little bit extra, and then you can slide on through much quicker, which is actually kind of how our immigration system works right now, but much quicker is 10 years, slower is like 50.
Even better than that, man. I think we just go down to the border. You basically find whoever the guy was that like managed the Shoney's. Remember that wonderful restaurant?
Yes.
And so with Shoney's, it was great. You had a wonderful buffet, or you could order food, and it was quick and efficient, and kids eat free. Like kids under 12. So we just go down there and we set up a Shoney's buffet for immigration. Basically like, boom, you're a kid, come on in. You're an adult with a kid, all right, you're going to go through the line real quick, and you're going to get an express line so we can fucking like decide if you should be in the country or not. If you don't have any kids, maybe it'll take you a little longer. That's fine. And let's just Shoney's it. Let's just get everybody a fucking big old plate of sausage and eggs and get it fixed.
Speaking of kids under 12, we need to immediately dissolve the fucking baby cage system, because we should not separate families as a deterrent. That is on paper as the reason why they continue to separate families. They want it to be a deterrent. That is fucking monstrous, and that is extraordinarily un-American.
It doesn't work because you know what? Their only other option is to go back to where they came from and fucking die. With the gangs and the fucking way that the government's failing them. Yeah, it's like... So you're basically like... All right, so we're going to try to deter... There's no deterrent that's going to work when the other possibility is fucking death.
Yeah. Of course, we're killing their children, too, just more slowly.
Well, yeah.
So speaking of all this horrendousness, by which I mean speaking of you speaking to your aunt, by which I mean someone speaking to someone else that was a Trump supporter and getting through to them, I do have an update on Amash. The one Republican congressperson that's called for Trump's impeachment.
Did what's his name? Did Turtle Man just strangle him in front of the Senate? Just like
have what do you call it? An executioner come out and lop his head off and put it on a spike outside.
Yeah. Did that happen?
Her head's going on the flagpole.
Did that happen? Did that happen to him?
He went back home recently to go to a town hall meeting to talk to his constituents about everything. And the town hall meeting opened with a Vietnam veteran who 30 years ago, he and 6 others were in an explosion, and one of them didn't make it. And this guy's here today, an injured soldier, coming up to talk to this guy. Packed town hall, by the way, like several hundred people in it. And he opens by saying that he would like to thank Amash for his bravery at calling for Trump's impeachment. And there was a standing ovation. Like, people were standing up, cheering, hollering, clapping. These are all Trump voters, and they're all so happy right now to see this guy calling for Trump's impeachment.
It's like I said, and I'll try to not go on a diatribe here, but the reason that Trump had support is because, and I've talked about this a lot, is that one of the groups that has been left behind is fucking like poor like white people. And I'm not saying that no one else struggles in America. I'm not saying that like if you're black in America like things are great for you. You get I'm not saying any of that. Like my point is everyone's getting fucked in America, right? But
right.
Like there are people that are like they want to feel like they're winning, like I told somebody the other day, I understand that white privilege exists, but no one gives a shit about white privilege when you're living in Appalachia in dire poverty and fucking watching people around you die of opioid overdoses, right?
Right.
To those people, it seems like white privilege doesn't exist because they're like, what the fuck do I have? And so Trump realized that, like, oh, I can just fucking tell these people that they're winners and that, you could be like me, just support me and I'll fight for you. And they want someone to fight for them. That's what people want.
I don't think you realize that so much as it happened coincidentally, but
yeah,
they put a whole lot of their own assumptions onto him, and Fox News then said that and spun it as that, and so they started to believe it because Trump's whole language is, it's all about winning, folks. Everyone else is a loser.
Everyone in America wants at least the same basic things. They want to be happy, healthy, reasonably accommodated, a reasonable wage for reasonable work, and they want to see their family, do well. That's what I think 99.9% of people in the United States want.
Right.
And we've been getting fucked for a long time, and people are just searching for, and people put their fucking trust in the wrong person. Clearly, like they just want somebody to fight. And I think that's a big. We talked about before. That's a big thing the Democratic Party is fucked up on, is they haven't reached out to these people. Like there's that quote that Obama said that he goes, they cling to guns and religion, and I go, you know what, Obama, I understand your point, but motherfucker, these are Americans. Like, we're all fucking Americans. Like, it's like we can't just be a president of just part of the United States. We got to be everybody's president.
Yeah. Which is another crazy thing about Trump, is that he is the only president in American history that has never even paid lip service to the other side. Like, Bush used to say, now, America, I'm still everybody's president. I'm still doing this for all of you. And, you could look at him saying that and be like, you're full of shit. You clearly don't care about most of us. But at the same time, at least he's pretending.
It's kind of like the idea that identity
politics. But Trump never does that. He never even pretends like he's everyone's president.
It's that other problem where I think, too, that identity politics it may have started in a good place, but it's being used to further divide us and make us tribal, because when we're divided, we're easier to control. And it's just like, and talking about one group suffering, I feel like doesn't demean another group suffering. Like every group in the United States, whether you're Muslim, whether you're like a fucking cracker from like Whistledown, Georgia, you know what I mean, or like you're a fucking black person from fucking Brooklyn, it doesn't matter. Like, we're all still getting fucked. Like, and
by the wealthy benefactors that so many people in Congress are being paid by.
It's funny, the other day when doing some tutoring, one of my one of the women I teach with is Chinese, and we were having this big discussion about like how each ethnic group is fucked. Like, if you're black in the United States, you're getting fucked. If you're Asian in the United States, like, you're getting fucked. Like, you're like in the middle, you're getting fucked by white people and black people. Like, everyone hates everybody. And she's like, why can't the minority groups come together? And I was like, oh, the white people don't want that. The white people in power sure don't want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think they shot every community organizer in the 60s that was like, hey, why don't we all get together? And then the fucking establishment was like, nope, shoot him.
Yeah, that's a thing that we haven't seen in a long time.
Because they're all fucking dead!
Well, I mean, nowadays we still have people that are very influential and talk a lot, but like no one's tried to shoot Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders or anyone. Like, you don't see that anymore. I mean, I know that they're not nearly as influential as the people in the 60s, but I'm just saying... You don't see public officials getting shot at anymore. Which, I don't know.
Because
I assume that's a good thing, but
they got rid of anybody who's a threat. Speaking of people who's a threat, I got a great little news story about Trump's impeachment for you. Geraldo Rivera of talk show and giant mustache fame threatened to fight Trump impeachment supporters.
Yeah, I mean, of course he's a piece of shit. I've known that for a while.
Well, here's the thing about him. He started out in like a kind of a good place. Like, he exposed, he's one of those people. He used to be a good journalist a million years ago.
Yeah, but then his brain rotted.
His fucking brain fell out of his ass. He was the one that exposed the horrendous things we did to like special needs and handicapped people in like the 70s. Like, there's a documentary, it'll haunt your fucking dreams, about Stony Brook, where he basically showed up to this mental health facility in upstate New York and kind of like didn't tell anybody he was coming and just walked in with cameras, and it was a fucking nightmare. These people weren't getting fed. They were like dirty. A lot of them didn't.
I've seen that.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so Geraldo Rivera basically
it was awful.
Through his investigative journalism, got basically like helped fight for rights for like disabled people, and like there's one guy that was in that facility that just had cerebral palsy. So when a lot of times you have cerebral palsy, there's nothing wrong with your mental facilities. You can still do anything. No, the person do is just like it affects your ability, like your mobility and stuff like that, and it becomes a lot harder to learn to speak and write and stuff. He fucking adopted this guy and fucking put him through law school, and now the guy's a fucking lawyer and an advocate for like people with disabilities. So he did a bunch of stuff. Like it's the same reason now when you have a kid and the kid's born with a disability, it's Geraldo Rivera helped with the movement of, let's get this kid services, you know what I mean? Like, let's make sure he's taken care of and he has access to equal education, right? Before Geraldo Rivera, they'd be like, you better ship him to the loony farm.
Yeah. But
now he's threatening to physically fight anybody who's trying to impeach Trump, and the internet went, dude, you're 70. Fuck off, old man.
Yeah, it's... Oof. Speaking of people being shot, though, from earlier, there was another mass shooting this week.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, like it was 12 people that were shot in Virginia at like a municipal building.
Yeah, the Virginia beat shooter killed 11, 6 injured. He was a disgruntled employee who went crazy. But, Pete, we got to accept that he could just as easily have killed that many people with a bomb, right?
Well, there's always an Onion article that comes out every time one of these happens. There was an Onion article they wrote years ago where they go, this is a completely unpreventable tragedy, says country, where this tragedy occurs all the time and is completely preventable.
Yeah, so, one of the main arguments you're always hearing is they could have just killed them all with the bomb. Yeah, sure, they could have. I'm sure that the same guy could have also, spur the heated moment, ordered bomb parts, learned how to make a bomb, put it all together, went out to the desert to test it, refined his technique, made the final product without getting caught ordering bomb parts, since it is illegal to make bombs and people watch for it, and then drove out to where he worked, hid the bomb, found 11 people in a crowd to get them all around it, and then detonated it.
Did he say why he did it, or was he just like, I was mad about my job?
Disgruntled employee, yeah.
Look,
it was a spur of the moment, and because guns are so easy to point and click, he could just kill a fuckload of people.
This is going to sound fucked up, but it's sometimes when these horrible tragedies happen, it's a relief when you're like, oh, it was my guy that was mad at the government, or like, oh, it was a disgruntled employee, like... And it's not some like Alex Jones told me to do it. Like I feel terrible, but I'm like, at least this guy was fucking what I call regular crazy, even though it's a horrendous tragedy.
Whenever these mass shootings happen, though, I'm always just happy when they're white, because the last thing I need is for Fox News to be like, it was a Muslim, that's why we got to get rid of them all.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Well, this might make you feel better. An article came out recently saying that Trump's unhinged behavior could be due to untreated syphilis.
Good.
So they think that because of all his risky sexcapades in the 80s, he might have the stage of syphilis that rots your brain. Now, my problem with this article is that they keep coming...
How long after that before you die, by the way? Asking for a friend?
Oh, God, Ruby, like, did you really threaten the president's life with syphilis?
I just want to know that he's going to die soon of syphilis eating his brain.
But you go increasingly crazy. It takes years. My problem with this article is like every month somebody comes out and goes, here's a theory on why Trump's crazy, and I go, maybe he's an asshole and you should stop fucking flooding the airwaves with these retarded articles.
Yeah, what part of billionaire playboy born in New York doesn't scream understanding the plight of flyover country, am I right?
Yeah, I don't know though, but like fucking syphilis, that would be interesting. But like, one of the things I think we should have for future presidents is, besides releasing like all your documents, I think that everything that you've ever done like should just always automatically become public record, right? All your school stuff, all your text messages, all your emails, like those all just become public, right?
I just like that Obama released his transcripts, and he's a straight-A student. Meanwhile, Trump's like threatening people with legal actions if they reveal his grades.
Obama was a fucking constitutional law scholar. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah, of course he's way fucking smarter than this stupid orange bastard.
Low IQ, okay. But like,
oh God, speaking of low IQ individuals, did you hear about the Kim Jong-un summit this week?
I heard that he, and this is crazy. I heard that he fucking executed the envoy that was there during the failed Trump North Korea talks. So someone got killed over that.
Yeah, and keep in mind that while Kim Jong-un is like killing members of his own administration just because he thought it could have gone better, that this is someone that our president currently praises and thinks has really good ideas.
Well, if you
like
look
Kim,
at
Kim Jong,
if you look at anything the North Koreans do, like, you've seen all those videos where they're marching and stuff, and you go, man, how do they march like that in sync so well? Well, because the ones that couldn't are dead somewhere in a ditch.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
it's actually kind of how evolution works. Those that can't make it die, but they're just sort of making that happen, but for brainwashed
I was gonna
puppets.
say, for shit that doesn't matter. So in millions of years, you'll have these North Koreans that have just super developed leg muscles for marching, which serve no evolutionary purpose.
Right. So, but yeah, so this week Trump went back to North Korea again for some reason. And while there, Kim Jong-un started making fun of presidential candidate and likely next president, Joe Biden.
Uh-huh.
And Trump just agreed with them. And was, because Kim Jong-un called him a low IQ individual, parroting Trump, and so Trump said the same thing. But his tweet was, Joe Biden is so low IQ. But while saying that, he misspelled Biden's name. Bidan is how he wrote it.
Oh, maybe he's talking about someone else named Badan.
It's just wonderful. It's like whenever you call someone stupid but misspell stupid. It's that kind of thing.
So I don't have a segue for this, but I got another really great thing for you, and this sure as fuck won't ever get passed. But this is a really cool law. Apparently, Michael Bennet and Elizabeth Warren, I guess, who were both running for president, want to pass a bill saying that people that were part of the government, like congressmen and like senators, should have a lifetime ban from lobbying after their term is over.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah, and if you don't know what that is, basically what happens is they serve in the Senate or they serve in the government for a while. Then as soon as that's over, they basically get a sweet job working for a company to lobby other senators to like give their companies preferential treatment. And it's a revolving door. Like the difference between senator and business lobbyist is a thin one if it exists at all. And so, yeah, I think it'd be great. There's no fucking way they're going to do that, but that would be pretty dope.
Oh, in Contra 2.0 news, Trump has used emergency powers again, this time to sidestep Congress and sell weapons to Saudi Arabia.
Great. Yeah, that's fantastic, because that's what the Saudis need, is more weapons so they can bomb more Yemenis children, because God knows those little Yemenis kids, they sure have it coming.
Yeah, so,
Can't we just sell the Saudis shitty weapons that explode and don't work right?
I mean, sure. Why not? What are they going to do about it?
Yeah, can't we sell them, like, bombs that are secretly packed full of, like, food and, like, aid supplies? So, like, it crashes through someone's house and bursts open, and it's just, like, food for everyone! And water! And medicine! And books! Yay!
That would be so nice. God, no. But right now, Trump would probably just send them the art of the deal. Here you go, folks. This is what you need.
Well, at least they'd have something to burn to keep themselves warm. Speaking of burning stuff, did you hear what the U.S. Department of Energy has recently done?
Oh, no. God, what did they do?
Oh, man. They have rebranded fossil fuels as molecules of freedom.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Oh, I have a wonderful segue for this when you've said everything.
Well, they recently bestowed the honorific term on our continent's natural resources, dubbing it freedom gas.
God
instead,
damn it.
yeah.
Fucking
just Jesus Christ, like.
So speaking of wordsmithing and propaganda and spin like that,
yeah.
Do you remember who Frank Luntz is?
I don't, but it's not even spin. It's just fucking. It's dumb. It's like the sequel to Idiocracy. It's got the electrolytes that plants crave.
It's got the electrolytes plants crave.
Like,
but yeah.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I'm just still marveling at how fucking stupid that is.
Yeah. So Frank Luntz. This is just a fun story I've heard recently on a different podcast. So I'm just going to repeat it here. Frank Luntz is the guy that I first was introduced to him in the show Bullshit because he's a spin doctor who has worked, to his credit, he's worked very hard for both sides, Democrats and Republicans. Like, he is the guy that came up with climate change instead of global warming.
Good, yes, thank you.
But also, he's the one that came up with freedom fries, and part of the reason why we got into the Iraq War.
Well, I don't think freedom fries are really fooling anybody.
I don't know. I mean, but that was a big thing for a while. That was something I remember making fun of back in the day.
I think we should rename fucking bullets to something with freedom. You know what I mean?
But he is a statistician, and he is someone that he is someone that's usually like dead on with all of his predictions, right?
Okay, all right.
On election night, he called up Hillary Clinton and told her, you have won. I've seen it all here. You have won 100%. He called up, I think, Joe Biden. He called up a lot of people to tell them, Hillary has
Did he offer her some freedom fries?
But this is, now here's where this gets interesting, is that when he is doing his polling, of everyone, or normally whenever they get their stuff back, about 4% leave no comment, right? Like if they say, who are you going to vote for? It'd be Trump or Hillary, and then 4% would not comment. So because of that, they can assign 2% to one side, 2% to the other, and just sort of throw those numbers out and forget about them.
Okay.
They did that again in this election.
All right.
However, and he didn't realize this till after the fact and after Hillary had lost, when he was looking back over all the poll numbers, it was because he had thrown out all the no comments. A lot of those people had commented, though. Like, a ton of them had. And what they wrote in the blank was, fuck you. And because so many of them had written, fuck you, he still split it up. He assumed that Hillary and Trump supporters would equally say, fuck you, I'm not going to talk about this.
Okay.
Turns out that's wrong, because he went ahead and assigned them 50-50 to the two of them, but also it wasn't 4% that didn't comment, it was 11%.
All right.
That had never happened before. 11% of people said fuck you when asked who they're going to vote for.
Right.
Turns out almost all of them, if not all of them, were Trump voters. So when he assigned them half and half to Trump and Hillary, that was completely wrong. They were all Trump people, and that's why Trump was so much further ahead than he had predicted.
How many of them just came back with just a bunch of Russian writing?
Do svidaniya, comrade.
Yeah. It says fuck you in Russian. That's what it says.
That's great. So a while back on, this is just a fun story about Frank Luntz. A while back on the episode of Bullshit, while they were filming the interview with him, someone randomly drove by on the road and yelled, "Hey, fuck you, Frank!" and they kept that in the episode. And Penn at the end of the episode said, "So remember, if you ever see Frank Luntz on the street, say fuck you to Frank." Now, that had never happened to him before, but he had a chance to actually speak with Penn Jillette years later, like 10 years later after that episode aired, and he said, "Penn, since you made that episode and put it out there, not one day of my life has passed, not one day, that at least one person hasn't walked up to me and said, 'Hey, fuck you, Frank.'"
It's like a gypsy curse. It's beautiful.
So that's Frank. That's Frank Luntz, and that's one of the people that was wrong about the 2016 election.
Well, if it makes you feel better, and maybe we can make this a thing for me. The other day I was walking into an apartment building, and the window of the upstairs neighbor was open. I've never seen this person before in my life, and I'm waiting for the person to open the door, and I just hear, "Hey man, G.I. Joe." And I was like,
"Real American hero, G.I. Joe."
I just kind of looked up and I was like, "What?" And then, like, he didn't say anything. He was just staring at me through the window. And I'm not dressed like a soldier or anything. I don't look like a G.I. Joe. But so I don't know, man. Maybe the next, like, the rest of my life, people just see me and go, "Hey, Pete, G.I. Joe."
G.I.P.
So
dun, 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 dun.
to keep this thing going, because we still haven't got the big stuff yet. We talked about this earlier. Trump had a really great tweet the other day. He said, I had nothing to do with Russia helping me get elected. Send." And then everyone goes, "Wait, Russia?" They go, "Russia helped you get elected?" And then he freaked out because he fucking told the truth for once.
Yeah. So that's the thing. We know that even though it seems like he genuinely believes all of his own bullshit, and I'm sure he does talk himself up to it to a large degree, at the same time, he was aware enough that when Robert Mueller was first appointed as special counsel, he was like, oh God, I'm totally fucked. This is the end of my presidency. So, I mean, he does have the ability to think still. He does have the ability to know the truth. He just tends to ignore it.
Well, he came out.
He accidentally slipped and said, Russia helped me get elected.
Well, then he came out and was like, no, I mean, the person who got me elected was me. It was all me.
Oh, I was going to do a huge build-up to that.
Oh, sorry, I ruined your build-up. Well, I wanted to do a build-up simply to this.
Because they went out on Chopper Talk, and they were interviewing him, and they were like, so what about that Russia helping you get elected thing? He's like, no, Russia didn't help me get elected. Now, he said it just like this. The only person that helped me get elected was... Now, Pete, we're going to do a quiz show here. Did he say, A, the only person that helped me get elected was Paul Manafort, my campaign manager, who's now doing prison for collusion with Russia? Did he say, B, the American people? C, the American voter? D, those noble American voter war heroes and all the other people that love me and reject Democrat principles? Or did he say E, me?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say I'll take syphilis for 500, Alex. Fucking himself.
It's insane that he's such a narcissist, that he doesn't give a fuck about the voters or all the people that work with him and his staff. None of that matters. It's all he thinks he did it himself.
I want to also come out, while I'm still thinking about it, in a long time on this podcast, for at least 70 episodes, we've been going, thank God for Bob Mueller. He's working for us. He's going to help save the country. And I can definitively say today, fuck you, Bob Mueller. I hope that you get a gypsy curse so that everything that you eat for the rest of your life tastes like a fucking mule's fucking taint sweat. You fucking moron. You asshole. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. What he did... I can see how what he decided to do would be greatly, a great principle to have in normal times.
Yes.
But currently, we are in extraordinary times.
So
you can't just keep following the rule of law when it doesn't work that way right now.
It's not even following the rule of law. It wouldn't have been illegal. So he comes out and everyone goes, oh, Mueller's going to speak. All right, here we go. And he basically was just like, everything that I would say is in the report. I will not testify in front of Congress. If we could have cleared the president, we would have. But also he refused to just go... he refused to go, look, we weren't able to prove that, or we weren't able to improve, give a definitive guilt thing because that's Congress's job. But there was also a lot of evidence pointing to this. Nope, he just circled around it, left it intentionally vague so the fucking spin doctors can be like, see, no collusion, and then he's fucking retiring.
Yeah. And, he's shutting down the investigation HQ. All that's going away. Now, here's the thing. When Kent Starr did his report on Bill Clinton, when he came out to give a similar speech, the very first speech he gave after concluding the investigation included the word guilty 11 times.
Right.
So, it's definitely not unconstitutional or against their powers to be able to say that they think the president's guilty.
He's a lot like Ned Stark from Game of Thrones. If you follow Game of Thrones at all in the very beginning of the series, spoilers if you haven't ever read it, watched it or whatever, in the beginning of the series, the king dies. It's very like, oh, who's going to take the throne next? The king asked Ned Stark to kind of be the interim king while his boy was raised. So they're all like, Ned, you need to move quickly. You need to seize the throne. You need to seize the king's kids. And Ned was just like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the honorable thing. And then his fucking head got lopped off, and we had fucking 7 seasons of everybody living in nightmare. So yeah, principles are great, but you also have to think about the implications of what you're doing, and what you should have done is in your fucking heart of hearts that this man has done some fucking guilty, fucking shady shit, and you need to come out and say it in plain language, not like, well, all I can say is that we were not able to declare him not guilty. Well, then just say that fucking the evidence of guilt is overwhelming, and it is Congress's job to now do whatever with the findings.
Yep.
Fuck
The evidence of guilt in 11 different cases of obstruction. And I had someone argue with our Muckrakers Twitter account this week.
Yes!
Which I'm actually back on it again, by the way. So if any listeners want to, follow us at Those Muckrakers on Twitter. You can do so. It's alive again, and will hopefully stay that way. I had someone argue with us this week that it's like, see, it's just what did the guy say? See, now that's a logical fail, because how could there be obstruction if there was no crime?
Because in the American system, construction itself is a fucking crime.
Right. It's like, technically, what's his face? Nixon is not guilty of doing Watergate. He's guilty of, the cover-up for Watergate. Yes. Whenever he started blocking congressional hearings over Watergate, that's what he got impeached and removed on. Well, he stepped down before they could remove him, but he was getting impeached on blocking Congress, which, by the way, Trump right now is blocking people from testifying before Congress, doing the exact same thing that got Nixon removed.
Plus all the other little fucking illegal stuff he's done, that, like, all the shit he's violated as far as, like, abuse of power and all that. That's all very clear.
Just like, case in point, whenever he keeps talking about people praying at football games and saying, or not praying, kneeling, right? He makes commentary on that and suggests that they should fire those players.
Yeah, he comments on... Yeah.
That's fucking illegal for a president to do. Illegal, and he did it because that is interfering in private businesses as the president.
Exactly. Like, so there's a whole laundry list of things, and the problem is the fucking narrow scope of the, like, well, he didn't actually fly to Russia himself and pick up the document straight from Putin and then come back. Like that.
Right, they're trying to say that because he didn't personally do all the hacks that he's not guilty, and it's like, fuck you, Frank.
Exactly. That's my new thing is going to be like, if you're listening and we ever gain a following, if you ever see Bob Mueller in public, please remember that his middle name is Swan. And for the rest of
fuck you, Swan.
Yeah, exactly. For the rest of his fucking life, I just want people to be like, fuck you, Swan. Fuck you. Like, fuck him. What an asshole. What a fucking self-righteous prick. Thanks a lot, Bob Mueller. When I'm eating my fucking shoes in the desert because climate change has made the planet uninhabitable, I'm sure going to think about you and hope that somewhere under the same sky, you're also eating a pair of fucking shoes.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If Hillary Clinton had won, she said that she had plans to immediately begin putting up windmill farms and solar panel farms all over America. We were going to go hard into green energy, which is, by the way, extremely fucking important, because I know that China is a cesspool of pollution, but they are way ahead of us when it comes to preparing for a green future. And America right now has gone in the opposite direction because of Trump basically blowing up windmill farms to massively expand freedom gas.
Hey, yeah, man, I was going to say, you watch your mouth. You're talking about freedom gas, okay? And these colors don't run, buddy, okay? I care about two things: my fucking dogs and my fucking freedom, and my gas, which is my freedom gas.
Well, you know what the freedom gas did to me this week? It's this past week here in southeast Georgia, we have had temperatures over 104 degrees for like 5 days straight.
It's just
it's not even summer yet.
It's like that old song where they're just like, everybody at the party, hot, hot, hot. It's getting hot, hot, hot. We're going to die, die, die.
It's been so hot that I actually had to Google. It's like, well, okay, how hot kills people? Because I really need to know when to stop going outside.
That's just a great way to phrase it. Very Hulk-like. How hot kill Hulk? So hot, it's just made us all into dumb Hulk. We're like, how hot kill Hulk? Hulk it's hot.
It's too hot to make smart with the thought.
Exactly.
It's and if anyone's curious, the range is 105 to 115 begins to kill cells.
Yeah.
So
let's fucking kill them cells. Let freedom ring.
Now, a healthy adult could actually theoretically survive an afternoon in Death Valley, which can reach temperatures of 131 degrees.
Yeah, but I'm not.
But you're not going to come out of it very well. But if you are a healthy adult, then you might be able to survive it. If you are a child or elderly, you will die.
Or if you're a Pete.
So that's about the age range we're working at.
If you're Pete and you're
not age range, the heat range.
If you're Pete and you're real out of shape, you're probably dead.
Yeah, though I guarantee you, listeners, that if Pete and I live long enough, we're definitely going hiking through Death Valley in the heat of the afternoon at some point, because Peter's going to have a crazy idea, and he's going to talk me into it with McDonald's.
Why go to Death Valley when Death Valley can just come to you? You know?
Yeah, give us like 5 years, listeners. Georgia's going to be Death Valley.
It doesn't sound like it's going to be 5 years. It sounds like it's going to be like a month.
Oh, you're right. Oh my God. This is 104 now in spring.
Yeah. So imagine what happens when it gets to fucking July. You know, the most disappointing thing that ever happened to me in Georgia, and there were so many disappointing things that happened, was one of those summers. I think it was an El Nino summer before climate change was really going to fuck us. It was just hot, so hot, and I was down at the coast, and I go, it's so hot. I'm gonna jump in the fucking the river, and I jumped in the river, and the water was the same temperature as piss. You know how disappointing that is to go, the river will save us? It's like pee. It's just warm everywhere. So
the river is, the stagnant river water is no longer stagnant because it's boiling, so it's moving.
Fucking river of piss.
The what do you call it? This place is a testament to man's arrogance.
Yeah, it's a fucking monument to man's arrogance of freedom.
Oh, that was the expression.
All right. I think that's. Is there any more news? Is that it? I think we've hit it. We're about to run out of time. I'm gonna.
Sweet Mama Jama.
Sweet.
Let's see.
Sweet Mama
Jama. Comic Sans news. Oh, there's that too.
I had one more, Dear Abby, but we don't have to. It's just basically. Dear Abby, is this guy's like, I'm gay and my best friend is straight, but when he gets drunk, he wants to fuck me. What should I do?
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. I go, I get you're worried about taking advantage of when he's drunk. Here's what you do. Wait till he's sober, then fuck him.
All right. So, hit him with the socials, Pete.
I don't remember our socials. We have a Hotmail account. Or we have a Gmail account. We have a Twitter account. We're actually going to try to start an Instagram account at some point. I don't know what they are, though. Pat, will you help me?
We need to start a TikTok account because apparently that's what the youth of America's into. We need to get them onto the Muckrakers.
But I'm not really into the youth of America, so I'd rather avoid that.
I'd rather hook them while they're young, just like cigarette companies.
I guess that kind of makes sense. If only we had an addictive product to sell them.
All right, what is that addictive product we have to sell them, Pete?
Is it thosemuckrakers@gmail.com?
We are at Those Muckrakers on Twitter, thosemuckrakers@gmail.com, youtube.com/thriftingtonpost, and also you can follow me on Twitter at Lantis Armstrong. That's LANTISARMSTRONG.
And remember, guys, tell your friends, go on whatever you listen to podcasts, give us a comment and rate us. It really does help us get more people. Tell your friends, write in emails with your own questions about, like, consent or should you smother a dying relative. We've got opinions on everything.
Yep. Oh yeah, if y'all want us to do your own personal Dear Abbeys, write us at thosemuckrakers@gmail.com. Give us your stories and we will read them on the air and give you advice that you should follow to the letter, even if you think it's a bad idea.
And until next time, fuck you, Swan. I'm going to slap you silly, and then I'm going to fuck you sober.